Step into a world where even boiling water freezes before it hits the ground, where entire buildings tilt and crack as the frozen earth shifts beneath them, where stepping outside without protection can mean permanent injury or worse. Here, life is not just endured, it is mastered, through traditions born from centuries of struggle against the relentless Siberian winter. Beneath this frozen kingdom lie hidden treasures and echoes of a forgotten past. Mammoths frozen in time, diamonds buried deep, and a culture shaped by ice and fire. This is not just a journey through the coldest city on the planet, it's a story of survival, hope, and the unbreakable spirit of those who call this frozen wasteland home. There's a place hidden deep in the belly of Siberia, where the rules of nature are rewritten. A city not born of convenience or comfort, but of resilience. A place where the air itself is a force to be reckoned with. This is Yakutsk, the coldest inhabited city on Earth. Here, winter doesn't arrive. It dominates, it rules, it silences. Are you ready to uncover the secrets of Yakutsk? For most of us, cold is an inconvenience. In Yakutsk, it's a way of life. Temperatures plunge to a staggering -71 degrees Celsius. Metal shatters, skin burns in seconds. Even the breath from your lungs becomes a ghost in the air. And yet, people live here. Over 350,000 souls call this frostbitten land home. Their ancestors carved out life in this frozen wilderness over 1,000 years ago. And somehow, generation after generation, they've endured. What seems impossible from the outside becomes instinctive from within, coming from the sweltering corners of Africa where warmth flows through every fiber of the land. The very idea of Yakutsk felt like fiction, but the more I learned, the more I felt drawn toward it, not out of comfort, but out of wonder. What drives people to stay where the earth is hardest to survive? Preparation began with facts, forecasts, and survival kits. Thick boots, fur-lined coats, insulated gloves, layer upon layer of protection against a world built to freeze you out. But even the best gear can't shield you from the mental toll. Yakutsk isn't just physically cold, it challenges everything you believe about what it means to live. Getting there felt like trying to reach the edge of the world. With war casting its shadow over Russia, the path grew narrower by the day. Flight routes disappeared. Plans crumbled. It took multiple attempts and a kind of stubborn faith to even set foot on the journey. From the golden light of Portugal to the ancient crossroads of Istanbul, and finally through the icy pulse of Moscow, each step pulled me further from the familiar and deeper into the unknown. In Russia, another reality awaited. Sanctions had stripped away the convenience of global connection. No cards, no digital wallets, no lifeline but cash. In a land of snow and steel, I was back in the analog world. One misstep, one miscalculation, and I'd be stranded. Still, something pulled me forward. There's a strange beauty in this level of commitment, when every step becomes a test of will. It's not just a journey anymore, it's a reckoning. And then, the final flight, the last breath before submersion. As the plane descended through grey skies and thick clouds, I caught my first glimpse of Yakutsk, a city etched into the frost, stubbornly defying logic. The cold hit like a wall, sharp, immediate, all-consuming. Even breathing became an act of resistance. The world around me slowed, muffled by snow, silenced by ice. Movement required purpose. Pausing too long meant surrendering to the cold. In this realm, time feels different. The sun barely rises. The darkness lingers like a memory you can't shake. Yet within that gloom lies a strange kind of clarity. The people here don't fight the cold, they move with it. Their lives are a dance with nature's harshest moods, and they've learned all the steps. Yakutsk isn't a city in the traditional sense. It's a monument to human willpower, a living, breathing answer to the question, how far can we really go? I came here chasing a mystery, drawn by extremes. What I found was something quieter, deeper, and infinitely colder. The cold here is not a sensation, it's a force. It doesn't greet you gently or sneak in quietly. It hits all at once. At -40 degrees Celsius, your breath stiffens mid-air and your eyelashes begin to gather frost, like delicate shards of glass. Even 10 minutes outside becomes a test of endurance. Every surface is a trap. Steps are slick, frozen into treacherous slopes, so the people line their staircases with rugs. Not for decoration, but survival. It's not about comfort here, it's about keeping your footing in a world designed to slip you up. On this quiet Sunday morning, the stillness is interrupted only by the faint hum of engines. In front of the Orthodox church, a long line of parked cars sits idle, running. Inside, families gather to pray. Outside, their engines remain alive, refusing to sleep. In Yakutsk, if you kill the engine, the car might not forgive you. The oil inside thickens, hardens, freezes. Restarting it would be impossible until the next thaw, months away. To survive this, people adapt. Radiators are cloaked with shields, a kind of armor to block the cold from reaching the engine's core. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. The city wears layers just like the people who live in it. Most vehicles are bundled in thick quilted covers known as Natashas, silent guardians against the frost. They cost hundreds of dollars, and for many they're the line between mobility and paralysis. But even with these defenses, some cars lose the battle. Once frozen, they are abandoned where they sit, trapped until the earth releases them in spring. The fortunate few, those with the means, turn to heated garages, a rare luxury. Inside, warmth flows through pipes like blood through veins, shielding engines from the relentless freeze. Here, metal stays soft, batteries stay awake, and cars breathe easy. Outside, nature continues its quiet siege. Every breath stings. The wind finds any weakness, any inch of exposed skin. Even your nose begins to freeze, unnoticed at first, until it numbs and burns all at once. This isn't just weather, it's an element. An omnipresent reminder that here in Yakutsk, survival isn't routine, it's ritual. The cold here doesn't just bite, it burrows. Beneath gloves, beneath layers, beneath skin. My hands, though wrapped in protection, were already going numb. Each step felt like dragging anchors across ice. And the pain in my head, sharp, insistent, wasn't from exhaustion, but from blood struggling to move, as if even it were freezing. Here, passing out isn't a slip into rest, it's an invitation to never wake again. It left me wondering. Why endure this? Why live in a place where simply existing feels like a daily battle? But the land speaks. It carries the memory of those who came before. Centuries ago, this unforgiving wilderness belonged to the Yakuts, an indigenous Turkic-speaking people whose lives were harmonized with the freeze. They hunted, they fished, they herded. They survived not by changing the land, but by becoming one with it. Then came the Soviets. This frozen frontier became a place of exile, not for criminals, but for the thinkers, the scientists, the writers, the voices too loud for comfort. They were sent here to be forgotten, but not all of them were. Some endured. And today, their blood runs through the veins of this city. As of 2021, the Yakuts still form the majority, around 60%. Russians make up about a quarter. This land for many was never a choice. It was inheritance. It was survival passed down. Even the snow here is different. It falls dry like dust, like sand pouring from the sky. There is no softness in it, no welcome. It doesn't cling. It slices. The fear is always there, quiet, close. Frostbite doesn't knock, it creeps in when your guard is down. A few minutes with exposed skin, and you may never feel those fingers again. Many haven't. Flesh turns black, then vanishes. It's a price this land has claimed from many. The urgency to find warmth grows fast. Doors that won't open suddenly feel like threats. Everything in you screams to move, to flee, to find heat. And still the locals say today is warm, because to them, this is bearable. To them, cold is minus 45 degrees Celsius. Anything above that is a gift. Even the city's infrastructure must fight to survive. Traffic lights and signs are scrubbed daily. Left alone, they vanish, consumed by frost, buried in silence. This is not just a place, it's a crucible, a test of what the human spirit can endure. In Yakutsk, ordinary shoes don't cut it. The cold here is merciless. Dressed for warmth is a matter of survival, not style. At the local market, the shoes tell a story of endurance. Thick, fur-lined, adorned with beads, each pair crafted not just to protect feet, but to carry centuries of tradition. These are not mere shoes. They are shields against frostbite, against the unforgiving freeze that claims the unprepared. Here, the city itself is a colossal freezer, reputed as the coldest market on the planet. While most of the world depends on refrigerators humming softly indoors, Yakutsk's vendors brave the brutal air outside, beneath skies that rarely warm. Winter here stretches beyond half the year, burying the ground in relentless ice, making farming an impossibility. The people rely on fish, on meat, on stores built to withstand the freeze. This is life shaped by the cold. Every step across the market reveals adaptations born from necessity. Deerskin mats guard frozen feet from biting ground chill. 2 pairs of thick socks are standard for those who stand long hours selling fish, their breath rising in clouds in the frozen air. The language spoken here is Yakutian, yet Russian echoes through the streets. English is a rarity, and when cold bites deep, tea becomes a lifeline, a small comfort against a vast frozen world. Horse meat, a symbol of strength and tradition, sustains them, offering warmth and energy amid the endless winter. It is a cuisine born of survival, deeply rooted in the culture of those who call this frozen land home. Even the infrastructure bends to the cold's will. Bus stops, heated sanctuaries in the icy expanse, invite the weary inside, a brief refuge before the next journey begins. Digital screens count down to arrival, and when the bus nears, people rush into the warmth inside, fleeting the frozen world outside. To grasp the severity of this freeze, science speaks louder than words. Boiling water thrown into the frigid air doesn't linger, it explodes into ice crystals mid-flight, a fleeting mist crystallizing in seconds. Clothes hung to dry transform into rigid wood-like sheets, frozen stiff in moments. Fruits become tools, bananas and apples hard as stone, wielded to hammer nails with unnatural strength. Even eggs, delicate and fragile, shatter in the cold, their insides expanding and cracking without mercy. This is a world where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where survival is etched into every breath, every step, every frozen moment. Yakutsk is not just a city, it is a testament to resilience, to a life forged and hardened in the coldest embrace of Earth. Surviving in Yakutsk is not simply about dressing warmly, it's a transformation of life itself, molded by the harshest cold on Earth. This is the coldest city in the world, and here, even the architecture must bow to the unforgiving freeze. Buildings don't rest on the ground, but are raised on sturdy pillars, lifted above a frozen Earth that never truly thaws. Beneath the surface lies permafrost, an eternal layer of ice stretching hundreds of meters deep, a silent force that shifts and cracks, threatening the very foundations of every home. Where separation between building and earth is ignored, structures begin to tilt, bending under the pressure of this icy prison. Yakutsk lives and breathes through a massive centralized heating system, an unyielding artery of warmth pulsing through the city. Individual heaters are a luxury unheard of. Instead, a vast government network delivers heat, turning fragile houses into sanctuaries against the lethal cold. Russia's vast natural gas reserves fuel this lifeline, making warmth affordable, but without it, homes would become icy tombs and life here impossible. Doors here tell their own story of survival. 3 layers stand between warmth and the biting cold outside. Each step through these thresholds is a passage through layers of protection, guarding residents from the brutal air beyond. Beneath the city, pipes defy convention, running not underground but above it, suspended over frozen rock. Water, gas and sewage weave through the city on elevated paths, a unique engineering marvel born of necessity. Even death yields to the freeze. Burying the dead becomes a slow ritual of thawing ice with fire, softening the frozen ground for days, sometimes waiting for summer's fleeting warmth before laying loved ones to rest. A frozen lake becomes a fragile bridge, solid enough to walk on, yet hiding depths of icy peril beneath. The camera itself struggles against the cold. Batteries drain, lenses fog, and electronics falter. Every 5 minutes, filming must pause, cameras carried back to heaters to thaw, to revive, to survive. Outside, the harsh reality of Yakutsk reveals itself. Few animals can endure this frozen expanse. Among them, hardy dogs roam, some of the only creatures resilient enough to survive these brutal temperatures. Beneath the ice, a secret kingdom lies, a world untouched by time. Layers of frozen earth stretch hundreds of meters down, preserving relics of a long-lost era. Ancient beasts, frozen mammoths perfectly preserved, surfacing now as the climate shifts, reminders of nature's deep past. In this land of extremes stands the coldest hotel in the world, where even the bed is carved from ice. Sleeping here is an experience carved from frost and magic, if such magic exists. But beneath this ice, another treasure gleams: diamonds. Yakutsk is home to one of the largest diamond mines on Earth, a frozen land that produces over a quarter of the world's diamonds, a stark contrast to the harshness above. The food here tells a story of tradition and resilience. Horse meat, a staple rich in history and strength, served simply yet profoundly, a taste of this enduring culture. Amidst whispers of coldness and suspicion towards outsiders, a different truth unfolds. Hospitality blooms in the frost, warmth found in unexpected smiles, strangers eager to share stories, to welcome a traveler unlike any other. Here, the coldest city on Earth shelters some of the warmest hearts, their resilience carved by an environment that few could endure. Life here demands extraordinary strength, where survival means preparing for frostbite or worse with every step, and yet complaints are scarce. Dreams live here, of travel, of learning languages, of crossing distant lands. If a home can be made where winter reigns for 7 months, where roads lie buried beneath ice, and stepping outside unprotected can be deadly, then perhaps human potential is far greater than imagined. Yakutsk is living proof. No matter how harsh the world, life always finds a way. This story is just the beginning, an invitation to journey deeper into Siberia's remote wilds to meet the people who thrive against all odds. Join the exploration, subscribe, and discover the resilience of the human spirit. Thanks for traveling with us. Wherever you are in the world, remember, home isn't just a place, it's a perspective. We'll see you in the next story, only here on Beyond Borders. Hit subscribe, share the journey, and stay curious.